I was adopted at 5. My family treated me like I belonged, until Mom died and they said, "You're not really family." For 28 years I was their daughter. Then Mom died and suddenly I was just the adopted one who didn't deserve anything. My name is Maya Cooper. I'm 33 years old. I was adopted when I was 5 years old. My biological parents died in a car accident. Helen and Robert Cooper adopted me. For 28 years, Helen told me I was her daughter. "You're just as much mine as Katherine and Matthew." I believed her. Then Helen died. And my siblings, Katherine and Matthew, told me the truth. "You're not really family. You're not blood. These heirlooms should stay in the bloodline." They excluded me from the funeral planning, kept all the inheritance, took all the family heirlooms I'd been promised. They even wrote me out of the obituary, listed only Katherine and Matthew as Helen's children. 28 years of being told I was their sister, their daughter, their family. Erased in an instant. This is the story of being adopted into a family that never really accepted me, and realizing too late that family was always conditional. I don't remember my biological parents well. I was 5 when they died. My dad was David Harrison. My mom was Sarah Harrison. They were young, only 30 when they died. Car accident. Head-on collision with a drunk driver. They died instantly. I was in the back seat. Survived with minor injuries and a lifetime of nightmares. I went into foster care briefly. Then Helen and Robert Cooper adopted me. Helen was my mother's best friend from college. They'd been roommates at University of Oregon. Stayed close after graduation. Helen was my godmother, actually. When my parents made their will, they'd named her as my guardian if anything happened to them. They never thought anything would. When my parents died, Helen stepped up. "We're not letting you go into the system," she told me at the hospital. I remember her face. Kind but determined. "You're coming home with us." I barely knew the Coopers. I'd met them at birthday parties, holidays. Helen was Aunt Helen to me, but not really my aunt. Now she was going to be my mom. The Coopers had 2 children. Katherine was 7. Matthew was 2 years younger than me. I was 5, right in the middle. Helen sat me down the day I moved in. "Maya, you're part of our family now. You're my daughter. Not my adopted daughter. Just my daughter. Do you understand?" I nodded, 5 years old and scared and grieving. "Katherine and Matthew are your brother and sister. We're a family. A real family." I believed her. I needed to believe her. I just lost my parents. I needed a family. And for a long time it felt true. The early years were good. Katherine was kind to me. She was 7, mature enough to understand I was hurting. She'd let me sleep in her room when I had nightmares about the accident. She'd share her toys, include me in games. "This is my sister Maya," she'd tell her friends. "Not my adopted sister. Just my sister." That meant everything to me. Matthew was little, so he just accepted me as his sister. He was 3. As far as he knew, I'd always been there. Helen treated me like her daughter, or at least I thought she did. She came to my school events, helped with homework, tucked me in at night. "I love you, Maya," she'd say. "I love you too, Mom." Mom. She was my mom. Helen had been my biological mother's best friend, but now she was my mom. I called her Mom from the first week. Robert was harder to read. He was kind but distant, busy with work. He was a civil engineer, worked long hours. He'd pat my head. "You doing okay, kiddo?" "Yes." "Good. Let me know if you need anything." But he never asked what I might need. Never initiated conversations. He was present but not engaged. Katherine, though. Katherine was my lifeline those first few months. She let me follow her around, included me in her activities, taught me how to play her favorite board games. "You're my sister now," she told me one night when I couldn't sleep. She was 7, wise beyond her years. "That means we're family forever. 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 You're stuck with me." She made me laugh. For the first time since my parents died, I laughed. Matthew was too young to understand. He was 3. He just knew there was a new kid in the house. He'd share his toys with me, let me play with his blocks. "Maya, play?" he'd ask, holding out a toy truck. "Yeah, I'll play." He accepted me instantly. No questions. No hesitation. I was just his sister. But there were differences. Subtle things that I didn't understand at the time. Helen would talk about my children in a certain way. Katherine and Matthew rolled off her tongue so naturally. Adding and Maya always seemed like an afterthought. My children, Katherine, Matthew, and Maya, are doing well. Never just my 3 children. Always listed. Always separated. When Katherine turned 10, Helen gave her a necklace. This was my mother's. And now it's yours. It'll be passed down to you, and someday to your daughter. I was 8. I watched Katherine get this beautiful heirloom. A delicate gold chain with a sapphire pendant. Family history. Legacy. Katherine put it on carefully. Helen clasped it for her, tears in her eyes. You look just like my mother when she wore this, Helen said. She wore this every day. Now it's yours to wear, and someday you'll give it to your daughter. It was a moment, a connection across generations. I asked Helen later when Katherine wasn't around, will I get something like that someday? Maybe another piece of Grandma's jewelry. Helen looked uncomfortable. Sweetheart, that was my mother's only special piece. But I'll get you something beautiful. Something just for you. But I want something with history. Something that connects me to the family. You are connected to the family. You're my daughter. But some things are meant to stay in the direct bloodline. Katherine will pass that necklace to her daughter. It's a mother-to-daughter tradition. But I'm your daughter too. Of course you are. And I'll make sure you have beautiful jewelry. Special pieces. Just for you. She bought me a new necklace for my 9th birthday. Pretty. A silver chain with a small diamond. Expensive probably. But not the same. Not an heirloom. Not history. Not a connection to generations past. Just new. I wore it because Helen gave it to me. But I'd see Katherine wearing the sapphire necklace and feel something I couldn't name. Longing maybe. Or exclusion. I asked Helen once when I was 11, why can't I have something old? Something with history. She looked uncomfortable. Maya, sweetheart, those heirlooms are for bloodline. They're passed down mother to daughter through generations. Katherine is my biological daughter. She gets those. But I'm your daughter too. You are. But you're adopted. There's a difference when it comes to family treasures. What difference? These necklaces, these rings, they carry the family DNA in a way. The family story. Katherine's children will be my biological grandchildren. The heirlooms go to them. So I don't get anything old? You get new things. Beautiful things just for you. Isn't that special? You get to start your own traditions. But I didn't want new traditions. I wanted to be part of the old ones. When Matthew turned 13, Robert gave him his father's watch. A beautiful vintage watch. Gold and heavy. Your grandfather wore this in World War II, Robert said, his voice thick with emotion. My father. He wore it every day of his life. Now it's yours. Matthew was thrilled. Thanks, Dad. I'll take care of it. I know you will. You're a Cooper. This watch has been in the Cooper family for 70 years. I was 15, standing in the doorway, watching this moment of father-son legacy. I asked Robert later, will I get something like that? He looked confused. Maya, you're a girl. Girls don't usually get watches. Katherine got Grandma's necklace. That's different. That's a mother-daughter thing. Helen's mother to Helen to Katherine. It's a direct line. Am I not in that line? Robert looked uncomfortable. You are. But these heirlooms have been in the Cooper family for generations. They're passed down through blood. The word hit me. Blood. I wasn't blood. But I'm a Cooper now, I said quietly. Of course you are. We adopted you. You're our daughter. But these specific items, they have history. They stay in the bloodline. So I'll never get any family heirlooms? You'll get beautiful things. Special things. Just for you. You don't need old heirlooms. But I did. Because heirlooms meant belonging. They meant roots. They meant you were part of the story. And apparently I wasn't part of that story. I got gifts. Birthdays, holidays. Nice things. But never heirlooms. Never pieces of family history. You deserve new things, Helen would say. Special things just for you. But I didn't want new things. I wanted to be part of the history. Part of the legacy. I remember asking Helen when I was 16, when you die, will I inherit anything? She looked startled. Maya, what a morbid question. I'm just wondering. Katherine has the necklace. Matthew has the watch. Will I get anything? Of course you will. You're my daughter. You'll be taken care of. But will I get any family things? Or just money? Helen sighed. Maya, why are you so focused on material things? It's not about material things. It's about belonging. You do belong. But some things are meant to stay in the bloodline. That's just how families work. Not all families. Our family. That's how we do things. Our family. But I wasn't really part of our family, was I? High school was when the differences became more obvious. Katherine was the perfect daughter. Pretty smart, popular. Helen bragged about her constantly. Katherine made honor roll again. Katherine's going to prom with the quarterback. Katherine got into Stanford. I'd hear Helen on the phone with her friends, her sisters, her mother. Katherine's doing wonderfully. We're so proud of her. She's such a bright, beautiful girl. She takes after Robert's side of the family. All those good genes. All those good genes. The ones I didn't have. Matthew was the golden boy. Athletic, charming. Robert's pride and joy. Matthew scored the winning goal. Matthew's getting recruited by colleges. Matthew's going to play college baseball. We think he has a real shot. I was there, the middle child, the adopted one. I got good grades, made honor roll every semester, was involved in debate club, volunteered at the animal shelter, tutored younger kids. Helen's response: That's wonderful, Maya. We're proud of you. But there were no Facebook posts, no calls to relatives, no bragging. I remember one particular incident junior year. I'd won a statewide debate competition, beat out students from 40 schools. I came home with the trophy, excited. Mom, I won state. Helen looked up from her phone. That's wonderful, honey. Congratulations. It's a really big deal. Only 3 people from our region made it to finals and I won. I'm proud of you, Maya. That's a great accomplishment. Then her phone rang. It was her sister. Oh, let me tell you about Katherine. She just got accepted to Stanford early admission. We're over the moon. Yes, Stanford. Can you believe it? She talked for 30 minutes about Katherine. My trophy sat on the kitchen counter. She never posted about it. Never told anyone outside of that initial. That's wonderful. When I got into University of Washington, Helen said, That's great, honey. It's a good school. When Katherine got into Stanford, Helen threw a party, invited everyone, posted dozens of photos. My daughter is going to Stanford. I'm so proud. I was her daughter too, but apparently not the kind worth celebrating the same way. College was my escape. I went to UW. Katherine was at Stanford. Matthew was still in high school. For the first time, I wasn't constantly compared to them. I could just be Maya. I made friends who didn't know I was adopted, who just saw me as me. One of my roommates, Priya, asked me once, Do you have siblings? 2. An older sister and younger brother. Are you close? I thought about it. Not really. We're different. That's normal. My sister and I are totally different too. But it wasn't about being different. It was about never quite belonging. I didn't tell most people I was adopted. Felt like admitting something, like confessing a deficit. I wasn't a real Cooper. I was the adopted one. It was liberating being away, being somewhere no one knew my history. I came home for holidays. The visits were fine, surface level pleasant. But I noticed things. Family photos on the walls. The living room had a whole gallery wall. Lots of Katherine and Matthew. Baby photos. School photos. Graduation photos. Few of me. Always fewer. And never in the prominent spots. There was one photo, a family portrait from when I was 7, where I was positioned slightly behind Robert's shoulder. Katherine was front and center. Matthew on Helen's lap. Me half hidden. I asked Helen about it once. Why is this the photo you framed? It's a nice photo. We all look good. I'm barely in it. You're in it, honey. Right there. See? Yes, barely visible. That was the point. Stories Helen told at dinner parties. My daughter Katherine this. My son Matthew that. I was mentioned but differently. And Maya, she's doing well too. Like an addendum, an afterthought. Once at a family dinner with extended relatives, Helen's sister asked about us kids. How are the children doing? Helen beamed. Oh, they're wonderful. Katherine's thriving at Stanford, top of her class. Matthew just got accepted to USC on a baseball scholarship. We couldn't be prouder. Her sister smiled. And Maya? Oh, Maya's doing well. She's at University of Washington, studying. What is it, Maya? Marketing. Communications. Right, communications. She's doing fine. Fine. Not thriving. Not excelling. Just fine. Her biological children were sources of pride. I was just there. After college, I got a job in Seattle. Marketing position at a tech startup. Good salary for a new grad. I was 22. Over the years, I worked my way up. By 25, I was a marketing manager. By 30, senior director. I was good at my job, built a career I was proud of. Katherine was in San Francisco working in tech. High-level position at a major company. Helen bragged about it constantly. Matthew went to USC, then got a job in Los Angeles in sports management. Robert had been so proud. Helen and Robert stayed in Portland. I visited a few times a year. Called monthly. The relationship was fine. Polite. Distant. When I was 25, I got engaged to my boyfriend, James. We'd been dating for 2 years. He proposed on a weekend trip to the San Juan Islands. It was perfect. I called Helen. I'm engaged. Oh, Maya, that's wonderful. Tell me about him. I told her about James. How we met at work. How he proposed. How happy I was. That's lovely. We're happy for you. When's the wedding? We're thinking next summer. Small ceremony in Seattle. That sounds nice. Let us know the details and we'll be there. That was it. 5-minute conversation. 2 months later, Katherine got engaged to her boyfriend, Brad. Helen called me within an hour of finding out. Maya, Katherine's engaged. Can you believe it? We're so excited. Brad is wonderful. From a great family. His father's a surgeon. They're planning a big wedding in Napa. We're so thrilled. She talked for 45 minutes. Asked if I could help with planning since Katherine was busy with work. Of course, I said. Katherine's engagement party had 100 guests. Helen planned it for months. Rented a venue. Hired caterers. It was elaborate. My engagement? Helen sent a card. Congratulations on your engagement. Love, Mom and Dad. James noticed when we visited for Christmas that year. We'd been engaged for 6 months. Your mom seems different with you than with your siblings. She loves me. It's just different. Different how? I'm adopted. They're her biological kids. It's complicated. You've been her daughter since you were 5. That's not complicated. That's just being a parent. She is my parent. She raised me, loved me, but there's always been this separation. This awareness that I'm not really hers. You are hers. She chose to adopt you. I know, but choice isn't the same as blood. At least not to her. But it was complicated, because I was always aware that I wasn't really hers. Not by blood. And apparently so was she. James and I got married that summer. Small ceremony. 50 people. Mostly our friends, some family. Helen and Robert came. Sat in the front row. Helen cried during the ceremony. You look beautiful, Maya, she told me at the reception. Thank you, Mom. I'm so happy for you. James is a good man. It was sweet. Genuine. For a moment I felt like her daughter. James's parents, Linda and Tom, were wonderful. They welcomed me immediately. Treated me like their daughter from day one. No hesitation. No adopted qualifier. Just family. We're so happy James found you, Linda told me at the rehearsal dinner. You're exactly the daughter-in-law we hoped for. Daughter-in-law. No caveats. No conditions. It made me realize how conditional my own family's love had always been. Katherine got married 3 years later when she was 30. Massive wedding in Napa. 300 guests. Helen planned for over a year. Helen called me weekly during the planning. Katherine wants orchids. Do you think orchids or roses? I think orchids are more elegant. She was so invested. So excited. So involved. My wedding got a generic "that's nice." Katherine's wedding was the event of the year. Robert died when I was 28. Heart attack. Sudden. The funeral was hard. I loved Robert. He'd been a good father. Mostly. At the funeral, Helen leaned on Katherine and Matthew. They were her real children in her grief. I stood to the side, supportive but separate. After Robert died, Helen seemed to age rapidly. The grief took a toll. I visited more often, called weekly, tried to be there for her. But Katherine was the one she called when she needed something. Matthew was the one she confided in. I was there, present but peripheral. When I was 30, Helen was diagnosed with cancer, stage 3 breast cancer, aggressive. The prognosis wasn't good, with treatment maybe 2 to 3 years. The cancer progressed despite chemotherapy. By the time I was 32, she was in hospice care at home. I offered to move back to Portland, help take care of her. That's sweet, Maya. But Katherine's closer. She'll help. Katherine lived in San Francisco. I lived in Seattle. Both were 2 hours from Portland. I can move back. Take leave from work. No. You have your life. Katherine will manage. Katherine visited once a month. I visited every other week. But Helen still called Katherine her primary support. During one of my visits, Helen was particularly sentimental. Maya, I want you to know something. What, Mom? You're my daughter. I've always loved you like my own. I know. I worried sometimes that you felt different because you were adopted. But you're not different. You're mine. Tears in my eyes. Thank you, Mom. When I'm gone, I want you to know you were loved, just as much as Katherine and Matthew. I held her hand. I love you too. She smiled. You're a good daughter, Maya. Those words. I held on to them. Helen died 6 months later. I was 33. Katherine was 35. Matthew was 31. Katherine called me. Mom passed away last night. Peacefully. I'm coming to Portland. Today. Okay, we need to plan the funeral. Matthew and I are handling it. I want to help. We've got it covered. I drove to Portland that afternoon. Went to Helen's house. Katherine and Matthew were there, going through papers, making calls. Hey, I said. What can I do? Katherine looked up. We're handling the arrangements. You don't need to worry about it. She was my mom too. I want to be involved. Maya, Matthew and I are her biological children. We're the ones who should make these decisions. The words hit like a slap. What? It's just easier this way. We know what Mom would have wanted. I knew her too. I was her daughter. You were adopted. It's different. Matthew stayed quiet. Didn't defend me. Didn't object. Different how? Look, we're not trying to be mean. But there are decisions about family things. Heirlooms. The estate. Things that should stay in the bloodline. The bloodline? Katherine, I was her daughter for 28 years. And we appreciate everything you brought to the family. But now that Mom's gone, we need to be practical. Blood family handles blood family matters. I stared at her. Are you serious? Maya, don't make this difficult. Mom left a will. Everything's already decided. And I'm not in it? You're in it. You'll get something. But the bulk of the estate goes to Matthew and me. That's how it should be. That's not what Mom told me. She said I was her daughter. That I was loved the same. She loved you. But love and inheritance are different things. I left the house, drove to a hotel, cried for hours. The funeral was 3 days later. I showed up, sat in the back. Katherine and Matthew sat in the front row. Immediate family. I was not considered immediate family. During the service, Katherine gave a eulogy. Our mother was an incredible woman. She raised Matthew and me with love and strength. She taught us the value of family. No mention of me. Matthew spoke. Mom was the best. She was always there for us. Katherine and I are so grateful for the childhood she gave us. No mention of me. I sat in the back, invisible. After the service, people came up to Katherine and Matthew. Your mother was wonderful. She was so proud of you both. Nobody mentioned me, because as far as the obituary said, I didn't exist. I'd read it that morning. Helen's obituary. Helen Cooper is survived by her daughter Katherine and son Matthew. Not 3 children. 2. I'd been erased. At the reception, I confronted Katherine. Why wasn't I in the obituary? What? Mom's obituary. It listed you and Matthew, not me. Oh, I wrote that. I didn't think. I mean, you're adopted. I didn't want to confuse people. Confuse people? I was her daughter. Legally, yes. But people who knew Mom knew about Katherine and Matthew. You came later. It's just clearer this way. Clearer to erase me? Maya, stop being dramatic. You know what I mean. No, I don't. Explain it to me. Katherine sighed. You were part of the family, but you weren't born into it. When we're talking about legacy, about lineage, it's different. Mom told me I was her daughter, that I was loved the same. And you were loved, but that doesn't mean you get the same inheritance rights. That doesn't mean you get family heirlooms that should stay in the bloodline. What heirlooms? Mom's jewelry, her mother's ring, the pearl earrings, the sapphire necklace Katherine already has. That's staying with her obviously. And there are other pieces, things that were passed down. Those go to me. I'm the biological daughter. Mom told me I'd get some of her jewelry when she died. She specifically mentioned the pearl earrings. Those are family heirlooms. They should stay with blood. She promised them to me, Katherine. New jewelry maybe, but the heirlooms stay with blood. I looked at Matthew. He avoided my eyes. Matthew, do you agree with this? He shrugged. Katherine's handling the estate. I trust her judgment. So you're both okay with excluding me? Katherine put her hand on my arm. Maya, you're not being excluded. You're getting $10,000. That's generous. $10,000? For 28 years of being her daughter. You were adopted. Mom and Dad gave you a home, a family, education, love. That's worth more than money. And Katherine and Matthew get the house, the estate, all the heirlooms, all the family history. Yes, because we're blood. That's just how it works. I pulled my arm away. That's not how family works. In biological families, it is. I thought I was part of this biological family. You were part of the family, but you're not biological. There's a difference. I left the reception, didn't say goodbye. Drove back to Seattle that night. The next week, the estate lawyer called. Miss Cooper, I'm calling about Helen Cooper's estate. You're listed as a beneficiary. For $10,000? Yes, and a personal note from Helen. Can you read it? He read. To Maya, thank you for being part of our family. You brought joy to our lives. Use this to build your future. Love, Mom. I sat with those words for a long time after hanging up. Thank you for being part of our family. Not you are family. Not you're my daughter. Thank you for being part. Part. Not whole. Not complete. Just part. Past tense. Conditional. Temporary. Like I'd been a guest. A temporary addition. Someone passing through. I read the note 3 more times over the next few days. Each time it hurt more. The estate was worth approximately $400,000. The house, Helen's savings, investments. Katherine and Matthew split it. $200,000 each. I got $10,000 in a thank you note. I hung up. Katherine texted me a few days later. Maya, I wanted you to know we're dividing up Mom's things. If there's anything specific you want, let me know. Within reason. Within reason. I texted back. What about Mom's pearl earrings? She told me specifically I could have those. Those are heirlooms from her grandmother. They stay in the family, but I can get you a similar pair if you want. I don't want a similar pair. I want the ones Mom promised me. Maya, those earrings have been in the Cooper family for 3 generations. They go to blood granddaughters. That's me. And eventually my daughter if I have one. Mom wore them all the time. She told me during one of my last visits that I'd have them someday. She probably meant nice earrings in general, not those specific ones. Those have sentimental value to the Cooper bloodline. And I have no sentimental value? You do. But it's different. These are family treasures. They need to stay with family. I was family, Katherine. You were part of the family. But bloodline matters when it comes to heirlooms. I'm sorry if that's hard to hear, but it's the truth. I stopped responding. Over the next month, Katherine and Matthew divided everything. The house, the furniture, the photos, the keepsakes. I got none of it. I asked for one family photo album, the one with pictures of me growing up. Matthew said, "Those are family photos. They should stay with the family." "I'm in those photos." "I know, but they're Cooper family photos. Katherine and I want to keep the family archives together." "I'm a Cooper." "You're Maya Cooper, but you're not a blood Cooper. There's a distinction." They kept everything. I got a check for $10,000. And a note saying thank you for being part of the family. I cashed the check, put it in savings. Then I changed my name. Legally changed it back to my biological parents' name, Maya Harrison. If I wasn't a real Cooper, I wouldn't pretend to be one. I blocked Katherine and Matthew, blocked extended family who'd sided with them. Went no contact with everyone. James supported me. They treated you terribly. You don't owe them anything. I spent 28 years thinking I belonged. You did belong. They failed you, not the other way around. My parents saw it too. At the funeral, my mom said she could see how differently they treated you. Really? She noticed Katherine and Matthew making all the decisions, you being pushed to the side, the obituary, all of it. She was appalled. It helped knowing someone else saw it, that I wasn't imagining things. I started therapy a month after the funeral. Dr. Nina helped me process the grief. "You're grieving multiple losses," she said. "The loss of Helen, and the loss of the family you thought you had." I thought I was their daughter. You were. Helen's actions, raising you, loving you, those made you her daughter. What Katherine and Matthew did after doesn't erase that. But they erased me. Literally. From the obituary. From the family. They erased you from their narrative. But that doesn't erase your truth. You were Helen's daughter. You were part of that family. What they chose to do with the estate doesn't change the 28 years you lived. It feels like it does. I know. But healing means separating their rejection from your identity. You are not less valuable because they treated you as less. It's been a year since Helen died. I'm 34 now. I haven't spoken to Katherine or Matthew. Don't plan to. They sent me a Christmas card this year. Like nothing happened. Thinking of you during the holidays. Love, Katherine and Matthew. I threw it away. I'm building a life that's mine. James and I got married 6 months ago. Small ceremony. Just close friends. We're talking about kids. When we have them, they'll know they're wanted. Fully. Completely. No conditions. No, you're part of the family. Just your family. People ask if I regret going no contact. I don't. Katherine and Matthew showed me who they really are. People who see family as biology, who see love as conditional. I don't need that in my life. Helen loved me. I believe that. In her own way she did. But she also allowed the separation, the subtle hierarchy, the idea that biological children mattered more. She could have made it clear in her will, in her words, in her actions. She didn't. And her biological children took that ambiguity and ran with it. Excluded me, erased me, told me I was never really family. So I'm done. I'm Maya Harrison now, not Maya Cooper. I'm building my own family, one where love isn't conditional, where belonging isn't based on blood, where you're my daughter means something permanent. Katherine and Matthew can keep the heirlooms, the house, the photos. I'll keep my dignity, my self-respect, my truth. I was Helen's daughter for 28 years. Nothing they say or do can erase that. But I don't need them to validate it anymore. I know who I am. And I know I deserve better than conditional love. Have you ever been treated like family until it was inconvenient? Have you ever been told you don't really belong? Have you ever been erased from a family narrative you thought you were part of? Share your experience in the comments. Sometimes the family that rejects you isn't worth keeping. If you believe that family is about love and commitment, not just biology, that adoption makes you a real child, that you can't raise someone for decades then exclude them when it matters, hit that like button and subscribe. Because you can't tell someone they're your daughter for 28 years then erase them because they're not blood. That's not love. # you're not really family.